What's up? We're trying something a little bit different today. This is a a pre-event deck profile. Um, I've decided that for this upcoming Time Wizard format tournament I've got tonight, I'm going to talk about my deck, my choices that I haven't made yet, my options, and then I'm going to go into the tournament, play, and then do a deck profile after, also talking about um, the finalized choices that I ended up making that I haven't made yet. Talking about what decisions ended up working, which didn't, so on and so forth. Talking about my matchups, because I think this might help give a little bit more insight to what's going on, what's happening. So we're trying it out. Um, so this is pre-event, September 2012. So this is after Nats, before Abyss Rising. So Tour Guide and Rabbit both got hit to 2. Future Fusion is banned. Zen Mighty Carrier is hit to 1. And Shockmaster is legal. So um, I'm going to be playing wind-ups. And this is what I've got so far for the main deck. I've looked at a lot of lists from all the YCSs, and these 34 cards are pretty standard. 3 Magician, 3 Shark, 3 Rabbit, and 3 Rat, of course. Just 3, 3, 3, 3. Um, some people are playing Hunter in the main. I'm undecided on that, and some people are siding it. It's not very common now that the loop is gone, but what I've been noticing from some of my test hands is that I'm clogging on space, and the really good hands don't do anything more than the mediocre. Like Shark Magician ends on Pap, Carrier, and Shockmaster, but like Shark Magician Factory doesn't really do an extra good Xyz monster. Like you can't like do much more than that. It's obviously better, but it's not enough better. And I think part of the reason is because you clog your zones too easily, because you have to have 3 open spots for Shockmaster. So if you already have 2 Xyzes and you have 3 zones, you're summoning Shockmaster. And even with that extra search off of Factory, it doesn't do enough. So, and you're not using one of your magicians or something in that instance. So, Hunter is a viable option to make the factory combos a little bit heavier hitting, and you can rip a card from their hand. So, even though you can't really loop it as well, strong contender here. 2 Tour Guide because it got hit, and then 1 Sangan. And then that's the pretty standard monster lineup. I'll talk about some questions I have in a minute. 3 Factory across the board, Avarice across the board, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. The discrepancy in spells is whether or not people are playing 2 MST or 3. And almost everybody that plays 2 sides the third. I think MST is one of the best cards to go second with. So I'm probably keeping 3 MST in my deck. Um, but taking this out is a contender to try and make my deck as consistent as possible going first. Because this card isn't necessarily amazing going first, especially now that Future Fusion is banned. Trap lineup: 2 Bottomless, 2 Compulse, 2 Torrential, 2 Warning, 1 Judgment. I think one person was playing like 1 Compulse and siding the second, but otherwise this is pretty standard. The thing that people differentiate on across these 3 YCSs, so there was a Toronto YCS, there was an Indy YCS, and there was a Providence YCS, all before Abyss Rising came out. And the biggest difference is Mirror Force versus D Prison in the trap lineup. I've had D Prison in my deck for a while, but like with Rabbit and Tour Guide both at 2, and Macro not as heavy hitting because Tour Guide and or not sorry not Tour Guide, Dragonfly and Hornet are both at 1. Until you get to Abyss Rising and Mermail, when Rabbit started putting macro in their deck. Starlight Road isn't like a super popular card anymore. So Mirror Force might be a little more impactful than D-Prison, in which case D-Prison would either go to the side or just not exist because of all the back row removal. Battle traps aren't necessarily as good as they could be. Um, so I'm undecided on D-Prison versus Mirror Force right now. And then the other thing is 2 Thunder King and 2 Snowman Eater. So if I choose 2 of these traps and these 4, that is 40 cards. And I know I want to keep it at 40 because I want my Shockmaster combo to resolve as much as possible. What I'm considering though, which nobody did in 2012 at all, like not a single deck list that I looked at for windups that topped any of these 3 YCSs, was playing the Patrick Hoban card, Upstart Goblin. I checked the list. It's not banned. It's not limited. It's not at 2. It's not anywhere. It still exists at 3. It was just before people like got on the hype train of playing 37 card decks because it wasn't as important before the like more impressive combos started becoming more popular. So I think what I'm going to do today for this tournament is take out the 2 Thunder Kings because with the factories here, I want my like wind up shit to be as good as possible. And like if I draw Factory Thunder King, I wait till they out the Thunder King. But if they out the Thunder King and then set something up and then I just lose to a trap anyway and Factory doesn't matter, I don't know. I like that less. So I think I'm going to take out 2 Thunder King. I'm going to take out an MST and I'm going to put in 3 Upstart Goblins. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna. I don't know if the life point difference matter because another problem with windups is that its OTKs are not easy or common. So, but I think that's what I'm gonna go with. We'll see if it works for me. But that is the main deck considerations for now. The extra deck, there are like 14 slots that are probably just like at least 13 slots that aren't considered flex spots for this format. Of course, Zen Mighty, Zen Mains, and because you no longer have 3 carrier, a lot of people are playing Zen Meister. It has utility in that it can trigger Factory, and it's a 2500 level 4. The problem is its book effect isn't good turn 1. It's good on turn 2 sometimes. I don't know. I don't love this card, and I'm not sure if I'm going to play it. But every other list I think that I looked at did. So, Pat, which is used during the Shockmaster Magician Shark combo. Shockmaster, so oppressive. And the other 4 is My Stroke. This was in everybody's lists. For the 5s, you have Zenmayo, which wasn't very common before. You had 3 carrier, but now that you have some extra spots, the pop 2 is really good. It's a good utility 5, and then Tyrus Adrius. I think I'm keeping all of these. For the rank 3s, you have Acid, Giga Brilliant, Leviathan, Leviair, and Tempo. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 cards. A very common 15th card was Soul of Silver Mountain. So what this does is it locks a set card of your opponent's that can't be activated while this is face up on the field, and it summons an Earth monster if it destroys a monster by battle. So it has utility, but not like game-changing utility, I don't think, because it needs 2 Earth level 3s. So you can't do this with Rat Shark. So I am not confident that this is going to be my choice. Other things I'm considering are a second Zen mains. I really want a Utopia. And then, especially for this tournament, I'm considering Chimera Tech with sided Cyber Dragons because of Chris LeBlanc's Karakuri Girga deck. I just have a feeling that people are going to be playing that deck at this tournament. So honestly, this might be my 15th spot. It's not likely that I choose to play Stardust Dragon and Starlight Road, but the biggest weakness to the Shockmaster combo is Dark Hole and Heavy Storm. Um, so I might decide to play a Starlight Road in this. I think I'm leaning towards these two to fill in the gaps. But Utopia being a light rank 4 comes up a lot in Giga Brilliant OTKs. So, unsure. Stay tuned for more. Side deck. Um, 2 Valor, 2 Max C is probably in everybody's side deck. I think I'm going to do 3 Max C, maybe 3 Valor. I'm unsure on this yet. But these cards are important. And then Hunter, I'm not going to side Hunter. I'm either going to main it or not play it. I haven't decided yet. Other common choices in the side deck. Almost every wind-up side deck that I looked at was playing 2D Fisher. And then I don't have these cards, but either accompanying this, either Messenger of Peace or level limit area B or something. And I don't have those cards yet. I might try to find some Messenger pieces, but I might just say, fuck it. I don't know. A couple lists were citing 1 Trag. I don't know. Spirit Reapers are pretty common in the side. Gemini Imps. And then Cyber Dragons, like I was talking about. Soul Takers, pretty common. 1 or 2 of the lists were playing Crossout or Trap Stun. Or not or traps, none. Cross out. Trap Stun was in a couple lists as well. I don't think I need to worry about Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, but Dark Worlds might be a deck I run into once or twice in this tournament, so Imps or Shadow might matter. And then this wasn't very common in the earlier YCSs, Toronto and Providence, but for Indy, Royal Decree and Needle Sealing were both in like many of the topping windup lists. So those I'll have to take into consideration as well. A lot of lists were citing Fiendish Chains and Dust Tornadoes too. I'm not a fan of Fiendish Chain, but I don't know. This is the card that just doesn't lose, that loses to somebody not blind MSTing. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Um, Not sure what I'm going to choose yet, but other things that weren't in anybody's side decks that I've been considering, and I think there's reasons why they weren't in the side decks. Starlight Road, not as important. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not as important in windups because, yeah, it hits Dark Hole and Heavy Storm, whereas in Rabbit it really only hits Heavy Storm. But in Rabbit it also hits the bottomless if you're not using Rescue Rabbit turn 1. If you set this and then Rescue Rabbit turn 2 and they try to bottomless your 2, it hits the Heavy Storm. It hits the Mirror Force if you Rabbit and attack first. So which is why it was pretty common in Rabbit lists. You don't see it very often in any of the wind-up lists, but it's something I want to consider just because it's really hard to not call spells with Shockmaster with cards like Heavy Storm and Dark Hole in everybody's deck. So this is in contention for a main deck spot even. Upstart I already talked about. 3 Leeching the Light. Not super important or relevant in the meta, But in one of these YCSs, I want to say it was Indy, Simon He got top 8 with agents. And that put the agent deck kind of on the map and like in everybody's radar. And then Abyss Rising came out, so it didn't matter. But that might have shifted enough of the meta where if we're revisiting, agents is going to be a pretty popular deck. I already know people in the local scene are talking about it. So I do have to consider putting Leeching the Light in my side deck. And then another thing I want is Forbidden Lance. This card has such utility going first and second, especially with Shockmaster, because it means that I don't have to worry about calling spells and losing to Dark Hole, or calling monsters and losing to Dark Hole. Um, I can call monsters, Lance to protect the Shockmaster from Dark Hole, um, and then I just heavy is heavy, whatever. Um, and then going second into traps, Lance is just such good protection because it's 2012. The combo isn't resilient to back row. Like they set a bottomless and they bottomless my Zen Mighty. Priority is gone. It's not like I can just summon priority activate effect. It's just gone forever. My one Zen Mighty is gone. So there's like going into back row, Lance just seems so good, but nobody was playing it. So honestly, this is a main deck spot contender for me. It's one I'm very heavily considering. So yeah, that's my pile of cards that I have to narrow down to 40, 15, and 15. So I'm excited for the tournament. We'll see what happens, and I've still got a few hours until I know the results. But if you're watching this video, you're gonna know in about 30 seconds. So stay tuned. All right, what's up, guys? So, um, this is a couple days later. I'm back from the 2012 tournament. Took a weekend trip down to regionals for current format. Played at Indy, played a 3v3 qualifier, and now I've got this Monday off. We're going to talk about my wind-up deck. I'm going to confirm the choices I made, talk about how badly my day went, and then talk about why it wasn't my choices that made it that way. Okay, so here's the profile. So we got the wind-up monsters I committed to, like 3, 3, 3, 3, Magician Shark, Rat Rabbit. You want to max on these just because that's how you play the game. Some decks only played 2 Magician in the format before, but especially with ones and matey, max out. And then I did decide to play Hunter just because it makes Factory a little stronger when you open it with these two. This was probably unnecessary. Going forward, I would cut this. It's not worth it. Um, it was probably a mistake with my deck building. It didn't really impact me too much, and actually, there was a time where having it in my deck did allow that Shark Magician Factory loop to be a little bit better. Um, but I just won the game anyway, so um, I would cut Hunter going forward, but that's okay. Then I played the 2 Tour Guide, 1 Sangan. I decided to cut Thunder King and cut Snowman Eater because I really wanted to make my wind-up engine the main goal. I think that was mistake number 2. I would put Snowman Eater back in before Thunder King probably, but maybe Thunder King too. I don't know. I think I forgot how oppressive Thunder King can be in this format, especially against the Dino Rabbit deck. Like I played a lot of Dino Rabbit, and if they don't draw lands, they don't out the Thunder King without wasting a Rabbit or Tree Guide. Um, and it's also oppressive against windups. Like I lost a couple games to Thunder Kings, and it was super unfortunate. So I definitely revisit trying to fit in Thunder King and Snowman Eater. And I think one step is taking out this Hunter. I played 3 Factory. I kept Reborn, 2 MST, Heavy Storm. I didn't really miss the 3rd MST, I don't think. It was in the side. Dark Hole. So I decided on 2 Lance and 3 Upstart in the main deck. And I liked it. Um, I think I'm gonna try to keep upstart as many upstarts as I think can fit going forward, just because it makes your wind up deck a little bit more consistent. But um, I think part of the problem was had trouble drawing wind up cards the whole day. So like the loss to Dino Rabbit, that wasn't my fault, and there's nothing I could do. I just drew really poorly all 3 games. I only won one of the games because he misplayed with his traps. So my wind up engine was not really being seen enough. So, but um, I think Upstart does help solve that. I did end up playing Starlight Road, and while I think that allows you to be safe calling monsters no matter what with Shockmaster, I think I would cut it. Um, and then it will open up space in the extra deck too if I can take out Stardust. So I think that's cut number 2. And then the traps were Bottomless, Torrential, 2 Solemn, Warning. And then I went with 2 D Prison, 1 Compulse. Um, I might switch this to Mirror Force. I didn't hate D Prison. It was okay, but there were times where I was sad that it wasn't a Mirror Force. So I think maybe Mirror Force is better in September, but hard to say. Hard to say. Um, Compulse is good. I mained 1. I thought about siding the other, but I just played it at 1. So the cards that I want to try and put in, this is 40 cards, are um, Thunder King, Snowman Eater, and so I've got 2 cuts already. Lance is a possibility. Maybe move it to the side deck. Um, but I don't know. It's tough because if you Lance the Shockmaster to protect it from Dark Hole, most decks have a normal summon to attack over it. So it's tough. So Lance might be another option to cut. I really liked the main deck for the most part. My losses were because I misplayed with I misplayed into Max C against 1 Dino Rabbit deck in game 3. I half committed, and I should have either just made a Utopia and passed, or just tried to kill him. But he had 1 back row that I didn't know, and it was like a new draw, so like I was like scared that it was a Torrential or Mirror Force or Bottomless, and if it was any of those cards, that meant I wasn't killing him and he was drawing a bunch. So I think if I was going to be conservative, I should have just given him uh, 1 draw off of when he chained Maxi to Magician, and then 1 draw for Utopia and attacked, and then kept something for next turn. But I gave him a couple extra draws, and then it was just a set Lance, and it was really sad. And then my second loss was because I just missed. I played really poorly against an Inzektor deck both games. The first game I just threw with Dark Hole. I just used it when I didn't need to, and then he was able to grind with his traps, and he drew 2 Thunder Kings right in a row. Um, and if not right in a row, he drew a Thunder King and then drew 2 dead, and then drew another Thunder King. So I was just like, if I save the Dark Hole and I wasted it on an Inzektor Hopper that I was clearing otherwise because I wanted to trigger a Sangan or something. If I just save the Dark Hole and I out that first Thunder King sooner, I win against the Inzektor deck game 1. I don't remember my punt game 2, but it was another winnable game. That was just my technical play that cost me. I have forgotten how much little mistakes in technical play can swing games in directions. Like, it's so much different than current format. And I was reminded by getting clapped by. I went 1-3. It was terrible. But Zen mains. This I didn't play Zen Meister because I wasn't really comfortable with the loops to reuse things. Like I wasn't gonna like do those combos well where you could like flip it and then photon pap a monster back up. Um, so I just like took it out of my deck completely. So I didn't try to go for those combos, mess them up, and then end on nothing. So I just did 1 of each of these because I had to fit Stardust in for the Starlight Road, but I think that's gonna come out. The 2 5s, Tyrus and Adrius, of course, wouldn't change those. Then the 3s, Tempo, Giga Brilliant, Leviathan, Leviair. I would keep all of these. And Photon, Utopia, Shockmaster, Maestroke. I think I would keep these 4 also. One that's a possibility is Utopia. Changing it to something else, but it's a light 4. It's Like you use Photon for your combos, so it's not really one you want to throw away just for the Giga Brilliant combos. So if you need like a rank 4 that's light, Utopia is really good because then that's an extra 300 from Giga. But there could be more utility added. So this got mind controlled and summoned. Oh yeah, the C39. I was at 4,000 life points, and my opponent mind controlled this and summoned the C39 or whatever over it. And I had a Solemn Warning set. I was like, if I use the Solemn Warning here, I go down to 2,000, and if he summons the Thunder King, I lose the game. But what I forgot was that if I don't Solemn Warning it, he attacks me for 25, and then I can't Solemn Warning ever again. And if I had Solemn that, I would have won the game. So just like stupid mistakes, it just cost me matches. But I still might keep this. But I think Stardust is definitely coming out. Replaced by either a second Zen Mains maybe, or a Chimera Tech if I decide to start siding Cyber Dragons, or the Soul of Silver Mountain card that I talked about. I think those are my three other options. For the side deck, I went with 2 Shadow, 2 Soul Taker, 2 Leeching the Light, 2 D Fisher, triple Max C, triple Veiler, MST. That's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yep. I think I knew Joey was going to probably be playing Agents. That's why I put this in. If I wasn't metagaming the field, I might not play this card. But whatever. The D Fishers I would keep. These I think you have to keep. There were multiple Dark World players there and Chaos Dragon decks. So I'm glad I had the Shadow Mirrors. Back row move I think is important. And you might be able to cut down on these. A lot of people side 2 and 2. If I'm siding cards, I think I want to see them. So I really like the 3 and 3. But like siding 2 ofs is everywhere in 2012. Everybody did it. It was kind of crazy. So I don't know. But that's the side that I went with. I really liked the list. There was a Chainburn player there, so I didn't get paired against him, but like that would have been interesting if I had, because I didn't have decrees. But this was my 15. Who knows? I'm excited to play more September 2012 to kind of get an idea for how to fix the side deck and get used to that old style technical play. Because it's been a hot minute. But it was a lot of fun. Shout outs to Jesus for getting first with Dino Rabbit. And I think Justin and Joey got second and third with Chainburn and Agents. I'm going to try and grab those deck lists and get them up for you guys. Because hopefully we can return to this format. We got 12 people. It was a really good showing. So thanks for watching my 1 of 3 deck profile. And we'll see you guys for more Time Wizard content soon.